In the Nixon Library in Yorba Linda, we have an entire setup for Title IX. Title IX was signed into law in June of 1972 by Richard Nixon, and it guaranteed equality for girls' sports with boys' sports in high school. It said at the college level the same number of resources have to be given to women's sports as are given to men's sports. And we're very proud of Title IX at the Richard Nixon Library because it truly was, it changed the lives of millions of American women. And if you talk to anyone who is old enough to remember high school sports before Title IX, they will tell you it was a nightmare. So Title IX was necessary. It was a huge civil rights win. But over the weekend, the Supreme Court handed down a Title IX decision. And when I read the accounts of it and I read what I could of it, I sent my friend Kristen Wagoner, who's the head of the Alliance Defending Freedom, a note saying, Kristen, I need help explaining this. She said, well, we'll get Jim Campbell, former Solicitor General in Nebraska. He knows this stuff cold. And so Jim joins us. Good morning, Jim. Where are you this morning?
Good morning. I'm in Virginia.
Well, thank you for getting up early and talking to me about this, Jim. Can you walk us through what the litigation is about?
Sure. So there's over 10 cases that are challenging this recent Biden-Harris administration rule. And essentially what that administration is trying to do is to redefine the understanding of sex discrimination in the law, and they want it to include the concept of gender identity. So the question that raises is, what does that mean? Well, that means that schools now have to allow boys who identify as girls to access girls' spaces like locker rooms, showers, restrooms, and it also has to allow them to participate in women's sports. So there have been approximately 10 lawsuits filed challenging that rule, 5 of which have been filed by Alliance Defending Freedom, the organization I work for, and 2 of those cases made it up to the Supreme Court for this ruling that you're mentioning that just came down on Friday.
Okay, so walk us through. This is a new rule, and I was the general counsel at OPM, and we did rule after rule, and I was the general counsel at NEH, and we did rule after rule. The Department of Education puts out the rules on Title IX and how to enforce it. What did this rule tell schools that they had to do, Jim?
So it essentially told them that when it comes to accessing sex-specific facilities, so like locker rooms and showers and restrooms, that boys who identify as girls have to be able to access the girls' facilities. We also believe that it covers sports as well. There's a question about that, and the court in the decision on Friday talked about that a little bit. But we think it covers sports as well because the rule does 2 things. It says that, yes, you can have sex-specific sports, but when a child is seeking to access one sports team, you have to allow them to do it consistent with their gender identity, which means in the end that a kid can pick either one, and therefore you can't really maintain